You're in a conversation that, on the surface, seems perfectly civil. The words are polite, the topics are safe, but something feels off. A micro-expression flashes across their face too quickly to decipher. A compliment lands with the weight of an insult. A promise is made with no intention of being kept. It's a chilling sensation, the suspicion that you are the subject of a secret animosity, a quiet, simmering resentment that never dares to speak its name. This isn't about overt bullying or dramatic confrontations. Those are clear, painful, but ultimately simple to identify. The true psychological warfare happens in the shadows of human interaction, in the gap between what is said and what is meant, between the action promised and the action taken. This is the realm of secret hatred, a silent erosion of your peace of mind designed to make you doubt your own perceptions. It's the emotional equivalent of a slow-acting poison, administered in tiny, nearly imperceptible doses. Why would someone hide their hatred? The reasons are as complex as human nature itself. Social convention, professional necessity, cowardice, or a desire to maintain the moral high ground can all compel a person to cloak their true feelings in a disguise of civility. But the mask never fits perfectly. The truth leaks out in 1,000 unconscious ways, in the body language they can't fully control, in the linguistic choices they believe are harmless, and in the patterns of behavior that reveal their underlying contempt. Learning to recognize these signs is not an exercise in paranoia. It is an act of self-preservation and emotional intelligence. It is about reclaiming your right to accurate social perception and protecting your mental and emotional well-being from the corrosive effects of hidden hostility. By bringing these subtle signals into the light, you arm yourself with knowledge, transforming vague unease into clear understanding. What follows is a deep dive into the 10 most telling signs that someone secretly hates you, a guide to decoding the silent language of disdain. Sign 1, the inconsistent smile, contradictions between face and feeling. The human smile is one of our most powerful social tools. It can convey joy, warmth, approval, and connection. However, it can also be a masterful tool of deception. When someone secretly dislikes you, their smile often becomes a lie their body is unwilling to fully tell. The result is a series of contradictions that betray their true feelings. The science of a genuine smile, the Duchenne marker. To spot a fake smile, you must first understand a real one. A genuine, heartfelt smile, known as a Duchenne smile, named after the 19th-century French neurologist Guillaume Duchenne, involves the coordinated contraction of two primary muscle groups. Zygomaticus major, these muscles pull the corners of the lips upward and outward. Orbicularis oculi, these are the muscles that surround the eyes. When they contract, they cause crow's feet, lift the cheeks, and narrow the eyes. The critical insight from Duchenne's work is that the orbicularis oculi muscles are largely involuntary. They are very difficult to consciously engage with the same intensity as a genuine, felt emotion. This is why the eyes are the ultimate litmus test for a true smile. A smile that does not reach the eyes, where the mouth is stretched but the eyes remain flat, cold, or uninvolved, is a pan-am smile, named after the forced grins of flight attendants, or a non-Duchenne smile. It's a social courtesy, not an emotional response. Telltale signs of a contemptuous smile. When someone harbors secret hatred, their smiles will often exhibit these specific characteristics. The speed and duration, a fake smile often appears either too quickly or lasts too long. It can be switched on like a light bulb the moment you make eye contact, lacking the natural, gradual build of a real smile. Conversely, it may linger on their face well after the social moment has passed, becoming a frozen, uncomfortable rictus. Asymmetry, a genuine smile is typically symmetrical, with both sides of the face mirroring each other. A smirk or a contemptuous smile is often lopsided, engaging only one side of the mouth. This asymmetry can signal sarcasm, smugness, or deep-seated insincerity. Contextual incongruity, the smile appears in situations that don't warrant it. You might be sharing a piece of bad news or discussing a serious topic, and they respond with a thin, placating smile. This disconnect between the emotional content of the conversation and their facial expression can be deeply unsettling and indicates they are not emotionally attuned to you. The quick draw and drop, they offer a smile as a perfunctory social gesture when you first see each other, but it vanishes the instant they think you're no longer looking, replaced by a neutral or even sour expression. This rapid shift reveals the effort it takes to maintain the facade. The psychological underpinnings. Why does this happen? The person is engaged in a constant, low-level act of impression management. They want to be seen as friendly and agreeable, perhaps to maintain a social or professional position, but their underlying negative feelings create a cognitive dissonance. The fake smile is their attempt to bridge this gap. However, the mental effort required to sustain a lie, combined with the lack of genuine positive emotion, means their body language cannot maintain the consistency of a true, felt expression. How to respond? Your goal is not to confront them about their fake smiling. This would be nearly impossible to prove and would make you look paranoid. Instead, use this observation as a data point. Trust your gut. If your intuition is telling you their warmth is not genuine, pay attention. Your subconscious is likely picking up on these micro-expressions. Look for clusters. A fake smile in isolation may not mean much. But if it's coupled with other signs on this list, like backhanded compliments or inconsistent behavior, it strengthens the case. Match their energy. You are under no obligation to respond to a fake smile with radiant, genuine warmth. A polite, neutral smile in return is perfectly acceptable. It maintains civility without investing emotional energy where it is not reciprocated. The inconsistent smile is the first and most fundamental crack in the mask. It is the body's silent rebellion against the brain's command to deceive. By learning to see the difference between a smile that radiates from the eyes and one that is merely painted on the lips, you begin to see the person behind the persona. Sign 2, the backhanded compliment, the art of the verbal ambush. If a fake smile is a visual deception, the backhanded compliment is its verbal counterpart. It is a statement that, on the surface, appears to be praise, but is laced with criticism, condescension, or insult. It is a sophisticated social weapon, allowing the speaker to deliver a blow while maintaining plausible deniability. If you object, you are the one being oversensitive or unable to take a joke. The backhanded compliment is the preferred tool of the passive-aggressive hater. It provides them with a sense of superiority and control, allowing them to express their disdain without the risk of a direct confrontation. Deconstructing the anatomy of a backhanded compliment. These insults in disguise typically follow a predictable formula, a positive statement followed by a qualifier that negates, undermines, or insults. The structure is, I like X, but Y, where Y is the true payload. The comparison trap, you're so articulate, for someone from your hometown/your school/your background. The compliment on your communication skills is immediately undermined by a condescending surprise that someone, like you, could possess them. The undermining of effort, you look great. You've finally learned how to dress for your body type. This seems to praise your appearance but simultaneously insults your past judgment and effort, implying you were previously clueless. The diminishment of achievement, this project turned out surprisingly well. The word surprisingly is the poison pill. It suggests the speaker had low expectations for you and is shocked you didn't fail. The honesty gambit, I love that you're so confident wearing that. I could never pull it off. This frames an insult to your outfit as a compliment to your confidence, while also implying the outfit itself is unflattering. The linguistic telltale signs. Beyond the structure, the language used in backhanded compliments often has specific hallmarks. Qualifying words, listen for adverbs like actually, finally, surprisingly, almost, and virtually. These words often serve to subtly diminish the praise that precedes them. You're actually very smart, implies a revelation contrary to expectation. Faint praise, this is praise so weak it becomes an insult. You did a decent job. It was interesting. Not bad. In the context of significant effort or achievement, faint praise is a clear signal of withheld approval. The tone of condescension, often, the verbal content is less important than the tone in which it's delivered. A syrupy, patronizing, or overly surprised tone can transform a neutral statement into a cutting remark. The psychological payoff for the hater. Why do people use this tactic? Plausible deniability. It allows them to express aggression while maintaining a veneer of friendliness. If challenged, they can retreat to, "I was just giving you a compliment. You're so sensitive." Power and control. It creates a dynamic of confusion and self-doubt in the target. You are left feeling uneasy but unable to pinpoint why, giving the hater a sense of superiority and control over your emotional state. Social camouflage. In a group setting, it allows them to undermine you in front of others without appearing overtly hostile. They can damage your social standing while looking like they are engaging in friendly banter. How to respond? Responding to a backhanded compliment requires poise and a refusal to play the game on their terms. The "thank you" gambit. The simplest response is to accept the compliment at face value and ignore the insult. A bright, unbothered "thank you" can disarm them, as it denies them the reaction of hurt or confusion they were seeking. Play dumb and force clarification. Pretend you don't understand the insult. Respond with, "What do you mean by that?" or "I'm not sure I follow, could you explain?" This forces them to either backtrack awkwardly or explicitly state their insult, exposing their hostility. Agree and amplify. The sassy option. This takes confidence but can be very effective. If they say, "This is surprisingly good," you can respond with, "I know, right? I constantly exceed expectations." This robs them of their power and can be quite humorous. Label the behavior. The direct option for repeat offenders. You can calmly state, "That sounded like a backhanded compliment." This calls out the behavior directly and signals that you are onto their game. The backhanded compliment is a test of your social intelligence and emotional resilience. By recognizing its structure and refusing to internalize its hidden barbs, you neutralize its power and protect your self-esteem. Sign 3, the unreliable narrator, when your reality is constantly challenged. One of the most insidious signs of secret hatred is a persistent pattern of undermining your perception of reality. This is not simply disagreeing with you, it is a systematic attempt to make you doubt your memory, your interpretation of events, and your very sanity. This manipulative tactic, often referred to as gaslighting, a term derived from the 1944 film Gaslight, is a profound form of psychological abuse. A person who secretly hates you may engage in this behavior to gain power over you. By eroding your confidence in your own mind, they make you more dependent on their version of events, easier to control, and less likely to trust your own judgments about their negative behavior. Common tactics of the unreliable narrator. Flat-out denial. They explicitly deny saying or doing something you clearly remember. "I never said that. You must have dreamed it. I wasn't even there that day. You're confusing me with someone else." This is a direct assault on your memory. Trivializing your feelings. When you express that something they did hurt you, they dismiss it as an overreaction. "You're being too sensitive. Can't you take a joke? You're so dramatic." This teaches you that your emotional responses are invalid and unreliable. Shifting blame. They masterfully twist situations to make you the culprit. If you confront them about their constant lateness, they might respond, "Well, if you didn't live so far away, I wouldn't be so stressed about getting there and then I'd be on time." This is really your fault for being inconvenient. They reframe their transgression as a logical consequence of your flaw. Withholding information and misdirection. They will conveniently forget to tell you crucial details and then blame you for not knowing. Or, when confronted with a direct question, they will answer with a question or change the subject to confuse you. "Why are you so focused on that? The real issue here is what you did last week." Countering. They challenge your memory of insignificant details. You might recall a movie you saw together as being good, and they will insist, "No, you hated it. You said it was boring and the acting was terrible." They inject false memories to make you question your own. The cumulative effect, erosion of the self. The goal of this behavior is not to win a single argument. It is a long-term campaign to destabilize your sense of self. The consistent message is, your feelings are wrong. Your memory is faulty. Your perceptions are flawed. You cannot trust yourself. Over time, this can lead to intense anxiety, chronic self-doubt, and a feeling of walking on eggshells around the person, as you no longer trust your own ability to interpret interactions correctly. Distinguishing from honest disagreement. It is crucial to distinguish gaslighting from honest disagreement or a simple difference in memory. In a healthy relationship, two people can remember an event differently, discuss it, and agree to disagree. The key differentiators are pattern and intent. Pattern: gaslighting is not a one-time event. It is a persistent, relentless pattern of manipulation. Intent: the goal of gaslighting is to gain control and undermine you, not to arrive at a shared truth. How to respond? Protecting yourself from this tactic is essential for your mental health. Document everything. In situations where you cannot avoid this person, e.g., a coworker or family member, start keeping a record. Save texts and emails. Jot down notes after important conversations with dates and key points. This creates an external reality check you can rely on when your memory is being challenged. Trust your gut. The very first feeling you have in a situation is often the correct one. Before the manipulation begins, note your initial reaction. Hold on to it. Use I statements. Frame your concerns from your perspective. I feel confused when you say you didn't say that, because my clear memory is X. This centers your experience without directly accusing them of lying, which they will deny. Seek external validation. Confide in a trusted friend, partner, or therapist. An outside perspective can provide a crucial reality check and confirm that you are not, in fact, going crazy. Set firm boundaries and limit exposure. The most effective way to deal with a gaslighter is to limit your interaction with them. If you must engage, keep conversations brief, factual, and focused on the present. Do not get drawn into debates about the past. When someone consistently makes you feel confused, doubtful, and crazy after interacting with them, it is a glaring red flag. It is a sign that they do not respect your reality or your mind, and such profound disrespect is a core component of hatred. Sign 4, the social snub, the deliberate architecture of exclusion. Human beings are social creatures, hardwired for connection and belonging. One of the most painful experiences we can endure is exclusion from the group. A person who secretly hates you will often weaponize this fundamental need, engaging in a deliberate and subtle campaign of social exclusion designed to make you feel isolated, invisible, and unimportant. This is rarely a dramatic, movie-style, "you can't sit with us" moment. It is far more nuanced, a death by 1,000 cuts. It's the art of making you feel like an outsider without ever having to utter a word of direct rejection. The mechanics of the silent snub. The conversation circle that closes, you approach a group they are in, and as you get near, the physical dynamic shifts. The circle subtly tightens, no one makes eye contact to invite you in, and the conversation doesn't naturally open to include you. They may continue talking about an in-joke or an event you weren't part of, reinforcing your status as an outsider. The selective invitation, this is a classic and clear sign. A group of mutual friends, including this person, consistently makes plans to which you are not invited. You then hear about the fun gathering through social media posts or offhand comments. The message is clear, your presence is not desired. The excuse is often, it was just a last-minute thing, but when it becomes a pattern, the intent is undeniable. The disappearing digital act. In the online world, exclusion is even easier. You find yourself left out of group chats that include everyone else in your social circle. Your comments on mutual friends' posts are ignored, while theirs are eagerly responded to. They may even post photos of the gathering you were excluded from, a digital rubbing of salt in the wound. The withholding of information, they fail to share important news or updates that are relevant to the whole group, ensuring you are the last to know and appear out of the loop. "Oh, didn't you hear? We decided that last week." The plausible deniability defense. The genius of this tactic, from the hater's perspective, is its deniability. If you were to confront them, they would have a ready-made, reasonable-sounding excuse for every single incident. We didn't see you standing there. The group chat. Oh, that's just for planning Jim's birthday, it's not a big deal. The party was so spontaneous, we just invited whoever was online at the time. I thought someone else had told you. This makes it nearly impossible to address directly without appearing needy, paranoid, or like you're tracking their every move. The psychological impact. The social snub is profoundly damaging because it attacks our core need for social belonging. It can trigger what psychologists call social pain, which activates the same regions of the brain as physical pain. Chronic exclusion leads to decreased self-esteem and feelings of worthlessness, anxiety and depression, a hypervigilance to other social threats, a tendency to self-isolate to avoid further rejection. How to respond? Your goal is to reclaim your social power and refuse to let their exclusion define your worth. Don't chase, replace, do not beg for inclusion or constantly ask why you weren't invited. This gives them all the power. Instead, invest your energy in the people who consistently show up for you. Cultivate other friendships and social circles where you are valued and welcomed. Observe, don't absorb, see the pattern for what it is, a reflection of their character, not yours. Their choice to exclude is about their pettiness and hostility, not your likability. Be the architect of your own social life, take the initiative. Plan your own events and invite the people you enjoy. Create social environments where you are in control and the atmosphere is positive. Address it indirectly, if you must. If this is happening in a workplace or necessary family setting, you might address the group dynamic rather than the individual. You could say to the group, I'd love to be in the loop on these plans next time, it sounds like fun. This expresses your desire for inclusion without giving the hater a specific accusation to deny. The social snub is a silent, cold war. By refusing to fight on their terms, by building a rich, full social life that does not depend on their approval, you win. Their exclusion becomes irrelevant, and their secret hatred is rendered powerless. Sign 5, the withholding of encouragement, the silence that screams. In healthy relationships, both personal and professional, people naturally celebrate each other's successes and offer support during challenges. It's a reciprocal flow of emotional sustenance. A clear sign of secret hatred is the deliberate and consistent withholding of this encouragement. It is a silence that is as loud as any insult, a passive-aggressive refusal to acknowledge your value, your efforts, or your joys. This person becomes an emotional black hole. They absorb your good news and offer nothing in return. They witness your struggles and remain unmoved. Their indifference is a calculated act, a way of diminishing you without saying a negative word. Manifestations of emotional withholding. The non-reaction to good news: you share an exciting promotion, a personal achievement, or a piece of happy news. Their response is a muted, "Oh, that's nice," before immediately changing the subject. There is no follow-up questions, no shared excitement, no "I'm so happy for you." The emotional temperature in the room drops. The absence in times of need, when you are going through a difficult time, a loss, an illness, a period of high stress, they are conspicuously absent. They don't check in, don't offer help, and don't provide a listening ear. Their lack of support during vulnerability is a stark indicator of their true feelings. The failure to acknowledge effort: you've worked tirelessly on a project, whether at work or on a personal endeavor. They see the result and may even benefit from it, but they never acknowledge the hard work that went into it. The message is that your labor is expected, invisible, and unworthy of note. Withholding affirmation in relationships: in a romantic or close friendship context, this can be devastating. They stop saying, "I love you," cease giving compliments, and no longer express appreciation for the things you do. This creates a vacuum of validation, making you feel insecure and desperate for a crumb of their former warmth. The difference between withholding and simple self-absorption. It is important to distinguish malicious withholding from someone simply being preoccupied or lacking social grace. The key, again, is pattern and contrast. Pattern: does this happen every single time, without fail? Is their lack of support a consistent feature of your interactions? Contrast: observe how they treat others. Do they readily offer encouragement, excitement, and support to mutual friends or colleagues? If you see them capable of warmth and engagement with others but a consistent chill with you, the evidence is clear. The psychological strategy. Why is withholding encouragement so effective? It creates self-doubt. You begin to question the significance of your own achievements. If they aren't impressed, maybe it's not a big deal after all. It fosters insecurity. In the absence of external validation, you may start to feel insecure and needy, which further empowers the withholder. It's a power move. By controlling the flow of affirmation, they position themselves as the judge and you as the perpetual supplicant. Your emotional state becomes dependent on their withheld approval. How to respond? Your strategy must be to break your dependency on their validation. Stop seeking their approval. This is the most critical step. Recognize that you are seeking water from a dry well. Stop going to them with your good news or your problems. Share your triumphs and struggles with people who will genuinely celebrate and support you. Validate yourself. Become your own biggest cheerleader. Acknowledge your own efforts and celebrate your own wins. Your sense of self-worth must become internally generated, not externally sourced from someone who wishes you ill. Name the pattern to a confidant. Speaking about this dynamic with a trusted friend or therapist can be incredibly liberating. Saying, "I've noticed that every time I achieve something, person X completely ignores it," helps to validate your experience and break the cycle of self-doubt. Lower your expectations. Accept that this person is not a source of support. By formally lowering your expectations of them to zero, you protect yourself from repeated disappointment. You stop being hurt by their silence because you no longer expect anything else. The withholding of encouragement is a form of emotional starvation. The solution is not to beg for scraps, but to find a new source of nourishment. By recognizing this silent treatment for the act of hostility it is, you can free yourself from the need for their approval and find validation within and from those who truly care for you. Sign 6, the microaggression and nonverbal tell, the body doesn't lie. Often, the most honest communication happens without a single word being spoken. Our bodies are constantly broadcasting our true feelings through posture, gesture, and expression. While a person can control their words, it is far more difficult to maintain perfect control over their nonverbal cues, especially the microexpressions that flash across the face in a fraction of a second. A person who secretly hates you will often display a cluster of negative nonverbal signals that contradict their polite verbal facade. These microaggressions are the tiny, often subconscious, leaks of their underlying contempt. Key nonverbal red flags. The eyes are the windows to disdain. Lack of eye contact. They consistently avoid making eye contact with you during conversations, looking over your shoulder, at the floor, or at their phone. This is a primal signal of dismissal and disinterest. The cut eye, a quick, sharp sideways glance followed by an immediate look away. This is a universal expression of judgment, annoyance, or contempt. Pupil dilation. While harder to notice, our pupils constrict, get smaller, when we see something we dislike. Inconsistent lighting makes this unreliable, but a consistently cold look in their eyes when they interact with you can be perceptible. The closed-off posture. Crossed arms and legs. This is a classic sign of defensiveness and being psychologically closed off. While people sometimes cross their arms just because they're cold, if it's a consistent posture they adopt specifically with you, it's telling. Angling away. They position their body so their feet, knees, and torso are pointed away from you, even while their head is facing you. The feet are a particularly honest indicator of where someone wants to go. If they're pointed towards the exit, they want to end the interaction. Leaning back. They create physical distance by leaning away from you when you speak or lean in. Facial microexpressions. These are fleeting, involuntary expressions that reveal a person's true emotion before the socially acceptable expression takes over. Trained experts can spot them, but you can often sense the flash of contempt. The universal sign is one side of the lip pulled upwards and back. It's a smirk of superiority. Disgust, a wrinkling of the nose, as if smelling something bad. Anger, eyebrows lowered and drawn together, lips tightened. Imitative dissonance. In positive interactions, people unconsciously mimic each other's body language, crossing legs at the same time, using similar hand gestures. This postural echo builds rapport. A person who dislikes you will not mirror you. Their body language will be out of sync with yours, creating a subtle but palpable sense of dissonance. The cluster concept. It is vital to remember that a single nonverbal cue, in isolation, means very little. Someone might cross their arms because they are cold. They might look away because they are shy or distracted. The key is to look for clusters of these behaviors that form a consistent pattern. Do they always cross their arms and lean back when talking to you, but not with others? Does their smile consistently fail to reach their eyes, coupled with a frequent lack of eye contact? Do you get a consistent feeling of coldness or tension in their presence that you can't quite explain? This cluster of nonverbal signals is your subconscious mind piecing together the truth that their words are trying to hide. How to respond? You cannot and should not accuse someone of having contemptuous microexpressions. However, you can use this information to guide your own behavior. Trust the feeling. If your gut is screaming that someone is cold and hostile towards you, even though their words are neutral, trust that feeling. Your subconscious is likely reading this nonverbal cluster accurately. Observe their behavior with others. This is the best way to confirm your suspicions. Watch how they interact with people they genuinely like. Is their body language open, engaged, and warm? The contrast with how they behave with you will be revealing. Manage your own nonverbals. Ensure your own posture is open and confident. This not only makes you feel more powerful but also denies them the satisfaction of seeing you become closed off and insecure in response to their hostility. Limit proximity. Since nonverbal communication is most powerful in close quarters, one of the simplest solutions is to limit your face-to-face interactions with this person. Opt for email or phone calls when possible. The body is a truth teller in a way the conscious mind can never be. By learning to read the silent language of microaggressions and nonverbal tells, you gain access to the most honest channel of communication available, allowing you to see the contempt that words are meant to conceal. Sign 7, the conversational shutdown, the art of the dialogic dead end. Engaging conversation is a dance. It involves speaking and listening, asking and answering, building on each other's ideas. It is a reciprocal flow of energy and interest. A person who secretly hates you will refuse to dance. Instead, they become a master of the conversational shutdown, employing tactics designed to stifle dialogue, communicate disinterest, and make you feel like a burden. This is more than just being a boring person, it is an active, though often subtle, refusal to engage with you on a meaningful level. They provide the minimum required response to be considered polite, but their lack of investment kills the conversation every time. Tactics of the conversational saboteur. The one-word answer. This is the most classic shutdown. You ask an open-ended question like, "What did you think of the presentation?" and they respond, "Fine." You follow up with, "What part did you like best?" "All of it." This tactic forces you to do all the conversational heavy lifting until you eventually give up. The non-sequitur response. You share a personal story or a detail about your life, and they respond with a comment that is completely unrelated, effectively ignoring what you just said. It's a way of saying, what you are saying is not worthy of my engagement. The immediate topic shift. The moment you introduce a topic you're interested in, they swiftly and deftly change the subject to something they care about. The conversation only has momentum when it revolves around them. The absence of reciprocity. They never ask you any questions. A healthy conversation is a volley. "How was your weekend?" "It was great, I went hiking." "How was yours?" With this person, the volley stops with them. They will answer your question but will not return the serve. This communicates a profound lack of curiosity about your life. The constant interruption, they repeatedly cut you off mid-sentence. This signals that what they have to say is more important than what you are saying and that your thoughts are not worth hearing in their entirety. The underlying message. The consistent message of the conversational shutdown is, you are not interesting. Your thoughts are not valuable. Your presence is a social obligation I am fulfilling as minimally as possible. It is a way of erasing you from the interaction without leaving the room. Differentiating from shyness or social anxiety. It is crucial to distinguish active shutdown tactics from the behavior of someone who is simply shy, introverted, or socially anxious. The key differentiators are, once again, pattern and contrast. A shy person might give short answers, but they will often seem apologetic or eager to please. They may not ask questions, but they will listen intently and show engagement through nonverbal cues like nodding and smiling. A person using shutdown tactics will appear bored, impatient, or dismissive. Their nonverbal language will be closed off, as discussed in Sign 6. Furthermore, observe them with others. If they are animated and engaged with other people but consistently shut down with you, the evidence is clear. How to respond? Trying to force a conversation with someone who is determined to shut it down is a recipe for frustration. Stop trying so hard. The moment you recognize this pattern, stop pouring energy into the black hole. Do not ask endless questions trying to draw them out. Match their energy level. Keep it brief and impersonal. When interaction is necessary, keep the conversation transactional and focused on facts, not feelings. Talk about the weather, a work deadline, a logistical matter. Do not share personal information or seek their opinion. Use the gray rock method. Become as interesting as a gray rock. Be polite, bland, and unengaging. Give short, uninteresting answers yourself. This method is designed to make you a boring target for their passive aggression, causing them to lose interest and seek their drama elsewhere. Redirect your social energy. Accept that this is not a person you will ever have a fulfilling conversation with. Pour your social and emotional energy into the people in your life who are eager listeners and engaged conversationalists. The conversational shutdown is a silent, polite way of saying, I do not like you. By recognizing it for what it is, you can stop wasting your breath and invest your words where they will be welcomed and valued. Sign 8, the saboteur's smile, undermining you behind a mask of friendliness. This is one of the most dangerous signs, as it moves beyond passive aggression into active, though covert, sabotage. The saboteur is the person who smiles to your face while quietly working to undermine your success, reputation, or happiness. They are the ultimate wolf in sheep's clothing, and their actions can have real-world consequences for your career and social standing. Their hatred is not just an emotion, it is a motivator for action. However, their actions are carefully designed to be untraceable back to them, allowing them to maintain their facade of friendship or collegiality. The many faces of the saboteur. The workplace saboteur. Withholding crucial information, they forget to tell you about a meeting deadline, a change in project specs, or important feedback from a boss, setting you up to fail. Taking credit for your work. In a group setting, they will present your idea as their own, or disproportionately highlight their own minor contribution while downplaying your major one. Setting you up for failure, they might volunteer you for a task they know you're unprepared for, or give you bad advice disguised as help. The helpful critic, they offer to look over your work before you present it, then subtly introduce errors or water down your strongest points, ensuring your presentation is mediocre. The social saboteur. Gossip disguised as concern, they spread damaging rumors about you under the guise of being worried. I probably shouldn't say this, but I'm really concerned about Sarah's drinking. This allows them to attack your character while positioning themselves as a caring friend. Poisoning the well, they take new friends or romantic partners aside and whisper warnings about you. He's great, but just be careful, he has a real temper. They plant seeds of doubt to isolate you. Creating triangulation, they stir up drama between you and another person by carrying, and distorting, messages back and forth. John told me he thinks you're arrogant, but don't tell him I told you. The motivation. Why do saboteurs do this? The motivation is often a toxic cocktail of envy, insecurity, and a desire for power. They feel threatened by your success, your relationships, or your qualities. Rather than improving themselves, they seek to tear you down to their level. Their secret hatred fuels a need to see you stumble. Identifying the saboteur. It can be very difficult to identify a saboteur because their actions are hidden. However, patterns will emerge. You notice that things consistently go wrong for you in ways that somehow, indirectly, benefit them. You get a sense that people are cool towards you for no apparent reason, and you later discover a false narrative has been spread. Promising opportunities or relationships mysteriously fall apart. You have a persistent feeling that someone is working against you, but you can never find proof. How to respond? Dealing with a saboteur requires strategy and documentation. Document everything meticulously. This is non-negotiable, especially in a work context. Keep a written record of your ideas, contributions, and communications. Emails are great for this. When you assign credit in a public forum, e.g., as Jane and I discussed, this idea came from, it makes it harder for them to steal it. Secure your alliances, build strong, direct, and transparent relationships with other colleagues and friends. If someone tries to gossip about you, a strong ally will shut it down or warn you. If someone tries to triangulate, your direct relationship with the other person will allow you to clarify the truth quickly. Confront the pattern, not the person. Professionally, if you have strong evidence, you can address the behavior with a manager or HR, not the person's character. I've noticed that on 3 separate occasions, crucial information about deadline changes was not passed to me, which has impacted my performance. I would like to clarify the communication protocol. Limit their access to your life. Do not share sensitive information, insecurities, or ambitious plans with this person. They will use it as ammunition. Keep interactions light, public, and professional. Protect your reputation proactively. Live your life with integrity. A saboteur's lies have less power when they are contradicted by your consistent and visible character. The saboteur's smile is the most treacherous of all. It is a mask worn not just to hide hatred, but to enable it. By being strategically vigilant, documenting your work, and building strong, independent alliances, you can build a fortress around your success and reputation that their covert attacks cannot breach. Sign 9, the inconsistent ally, the fickleness of fair-weather friendship. This sign revolves around a profound and telling inconsistency in their support for you. An inconsistent ally is someone whose loyalty and kindness seem to be conditional on the situation, specifically on whether supporting you serves their own interests or aligns with the prevailing social wind. They are a fair-weather friend in the most subtle sense. This person might be wonderfully supportive and engaging when you are alone together, but their behavior changes dramatically in a group setting, or when someone more influential or popular is present. Patterns of inconsistent behavior. The group dynamic shift. This is the most common pattern. One-on-one, they are your confidant. But the moment you enter a group, they withdraw their support. They may laugh at a joke made at your expense, fail to back you up in a debate, or suddenly align themselves with a more dominant person in the room, even if that person is opposing you. The withdrawal of validation. They agree with your ideas and plans in private, but when you present those same ideas in a meeting or social setting, they are silent, offer weak support, or even voice objections they never mentioned before. The context-dependent friendliness. Their warmth towards you is entirely dependent on who else is around. They are effusive when you're with mutual friends, but cold and distant if you run into them with their other, more important, social circle. The disappearing act in crisis. They are present for the good times but vanish the moment you face difficulty. When you need a character witness, practical help, or emotional support, they are suddenly too busy or hard to reach. The underlying psychology. The inconsistent ally is not necessarily driven by deep-seated hatred in the way a saboteur is. Their primary motivation is often a profound insecurity and a need for social validation. They are a social chameleon, changing colors to blend in with whoever they perceive to be the winning side. Supporting you is not a matter of principle or genuine affection, it's a calculation. If supporting you might cost them social capital or put them at odds with a more powerful person, they will abandon you without a second thought. Their secret hatred is perhaps better described as a deep-seated disregard. You are not important enough to them to warrant a consistent, principled stance. You are a disposable asset in their social portfolio. The damage they cause. The fickleness of an inconsistent ally can be more damaging than the steady hostility of an enemy because it creates a roller coaster of hope and disappointment. The warmth they show in private makes you believe the relationship is real, which makes their public betrayal or abandonment all the more confusing and painful. It systematically destroys your ability to trust them, and by extension, can make you wary of trusting others. Sign 10, the gut feeling, your subconscious as the ultimate radar. After exploring 9 specific, observable signs, we arrive at the most abstract, yet often the most accurate, indicator of all, your gut feeling. This is the profound, intuitive sense that something is off about your interactions with a person. It's a lingering unease, a feeling of being drained or tense after being with them, a quiet internal alarm bell that rings for no reason you can logically articulate. This is not paranoia. This is your subconscious mind, a powerful supercomputer processing millions of data points, presenting you with a summarized conclusion. It's integrating all the micro-expressions, the subtle tonal shifts, the slight hesitations, the patterns of behavior, and the contradictions between verbal and nonverbal communication that your conscious mind may have missed. Why your gut is so often right. Your brain is constantly processing information on 2 levels. The conscious mind, this is your rational, analytical self. It hears the words someone says and takes them at face value. They said they were happy for me, so they must be. The subconscious mind, this is your ancient, pattern-recognizing engine. It processes nonverbal cues, tone of voice, energy, and micro-expressions at lightning speed. It's your built-in lie detector and social survival tool. When these 2 levels are in conflict, when the person's words are positive but their energy and microsignals are negative, your subconscious sends up a flare in the form of a gut feeling of unease. It's your psyche's way of saying, the data does not compute. Danger. Common, gut feeling, sensations. A feeling of heaviness or dread before you have to see them. Feeling emotionally drained, exhausted, or slimed after an interaction. A constant need to be on guard or monitor what you say around them. A physical sensation of tension in your stomach, shoulders, or jaw when they are near. A simple, clear, and persistent thought, I don't trust this person, even if you can't list specific reasons. Honoring your intuition. We are often taught to ignore our gut feelings in favor of being polite or not judging. This is a mistake. While your gut feeling should not be the sole basis for a drastic action, it should always be treated as a critical data point worthy of serious investigation. Don't dismiss it. The first rule is to stop telling yourself you're just being paranoid. Acknowledge the feeling. I have a bad feeling about my interactions with person X. Use it as a prompt for investigation. Your gut feeling is a hypothesis, not a verdict. Let it prompt you to look more closely at the other 9 signs on this list. Do you see evidence of fake smiles, backhanded compliments, or conversational shutdowns? Your gut feeling is often the starting pistol for a more conscious analysis. Prioritize your peace.